Hello Flosstube, welcome back to Snickerdoodle Stitch. My name is Kathleen and this is a channel about cross stitch. If it's your first time visiting me, welcome. I hope you stick around a little while. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for visiting me again. Let me think. So last weekend I went to Sweata Weatha, so I'm going to start out with that. Just a little bit about that retreat. It's my last one for the year. Big crocodile tears for me. It was fantastic. So Rebel Stitcher is who hosted it, Colleen, and she and her family just did a beautiful job. It was by far the best room for stitching out of the 6 retreats that I've been to this year. One entire wall was all windows that looked over the river in New Jersey, so you could see the aquarium across from Philadelphia. It was in Philadelphia. Such a bright, well-lit room. Even at night, the room had fantastic lighting. So hands down, best lighting. Tables were pretty spread out. There was 8 people per table. Just really great stitching room. They had an annex with things, with some trunk shows and Rebel Stitcher items for sale. And they did, I forget what they called it. It was a kissing booth, but it was kissing Aldous, her dog, who was really cute. And I'm not a dog person, I'm a cat person, but the dog was super cute. And it was raising money for one of the local nonprofits. Actually, she said it wasn't an animal shelter, it was a nonprofit that helped lower income people be able to afford their pets. Because honestly, having had cats, just with food and litter alone, then start piling on vet bills on top of it. Pets are not cheap these days. So had that as a fundraiser. They had some fantastic raffles. They gave everybody 10 raffle tickets, so they weren't selling extra raffle tickets or anything. They were more like the door prizes. Overall, fantastic retreat. So when we first checked in, you got a bag with the Sweata Weatha retreat or logo on it. So this was the bag. Mine's empty now. I sorted through it just before this so I could have some semblance of order. And in the bag there was this really cute pattern, a little Halloween pattern, so good timing for that. And they also gave, no, I've got stuff stacked in here now, but this really cute tray from Joseph's Workshop. I was trying to remember that last Flosstube. I was showing a thread minder that someone had given me at Stitch New England. It was in my Smalls Exchange. And I knew it was Joseph something. It's Joseph's Workshop. They do amazing wood pieces. So it's this little wood tray, and this pattern fits in there. So you can see in the picture on the pattern that it's actually finished in the tray. So I thought that was really clever. And this tray I absolutely love. I don't know if I'm going to put that pattern in there, or what I talked about doing was replacing something on here and putting a little cat, because I'm a cat person. And then what I have in here right now is a bunch of things that were given to me. I handed out my needle minders. I had stitched the small sweater 1/1. It was a JBW design that I had modified and stitched it up and photographed it and made needle minders out of my stitched piece. So that's what I gifted to everybody that was there. And then the folks at my table, I gave, it would be like a clip that you could either put on scissors or on a zipper pull on a bag. And it was made with Kathy Holden fabric. And I had shown in my video on how to make the little cabochons in the tray. I used that fabric in that video. So that's what I gave out. Got to meet some fellow Flosstubers, got to meet Laura from Brenda and the Serial Stitcher, otherwise known as the Serial Stitcher. So that was exciting. She's one of the they are one of the first Flosstubers that I watched. Brenda wasn't there, but Laura was. Steel City Stitchers were there. Of course, Colleen from Rebel Stitcher, and it was fantastic meeting her. And oh, I'm gonna forget people, and I hate that. I meant to take good notes, and I would start with great intentions, and then I didn't. My table was fantastic. My friend Lana, Silly Notion Stitcher, went with me, and we did get to meet one of the people who watches our channels, Elizabeth, and she had commented that she was coming to this retreat, so I was really excited to get to meet her. Had fantastic table mates. Yeah, it was a good retreat. Good way to end the year. But in handing out my needle minders, I got some emery boards. And some of these were in little bags, and I've disassembled some things. I've got some chapstick, or lip balm, I should call it. Chapstick is a brand. I think this is lotion, but I'm not entirely sure. It's not, it's been hand packaged, so it's not labeled. Got a couple little stickers. One of my table mates gave little Wonder Woman needle minders, and oh, that was the other thing they did. Saturday was pajama day. Friday they had an ugly sweater contest, and Saturday was pajama day, and one of my table mates came in a full Wonder Woman pajamas, cape and all. It was quite impressive. A lot of us didn't really dress for pajama day. There were 100 of us there, and this hotel has like 500 rooms, 400, 500 rooms. It's 21 floors. So, yeah, there were a lot of people at the hotel that were not us, that it would be a little embarrassing getting in the elevator in the pajamas, but some people rolled with it. Let's see, I've got a waxer and a little pair of scissors and a 2023 charm. Laura from Costa Rica was there. I actually met her first at Stitching in the Wild, so she's made a few trips here to the US for retreats this year, and there was some candy from Costa Rica in there, but I've eaten it. And then there's a little clip, again, for like scissors or a bag, and it's got a little seahorse and some little charms and beads on it. One of my table mates gave us some Silks for You floss. She had bought a full hank of this to do, I think it was a long pandemic, maybe. It was a long dog piece, I think. And so she cut lengths of it off and packaged them along with some 2023 charms in different finishes. So very cool. And a little crab needle minder. If I can get it on, the magnet on this one is very strong. I'm looking to see. I think this was from Leslie. Really cute. I had looked for crabs for something else. Someone had handmade some floss drops. I don't have a name on that one. Oh, also in our Sweater Weather retreat bag was the floss minder with the Sweater Weather logo on it with the paw print. I wonder if that might be made by that same Joseph's Workshop. I know they make floss minders like this because I bought a few at Galleria and then somebody gifted me one. Somebody actually gave out, it's like a pencil case full of all kinds of goodies. My favorite thing in this one is this Utterly Smooth. It's a lotion that's really popular with quilters. It's great for healing up pin pricks on your hands, or just healing from, I don't get the pin pricks, but I do a lot of paper crafting and then the cross stitching, and both of them tend to dry out your hands a lot, and then age is not helping. And then somebody gave me, and I feel awful because I don't remember what this was from. It may have been in our bag, or did somebody give it to me? It's a Mill Hill kit. It's a really cute snowman, and I like, yeah, I've told you before, Mill Hill kits are my go-to for traveling. At our table, each seat had a hand poured candle which says Sweater Weather on it, from Amaryllis Craftworks, and it smells yummy. I I don't like floral scents. They just make me sneeze, and they just don't agree with me. So I tend to get food scents, you know, cinnamon, caramel, maple, those kind of scents, nuts, apple pie. But this one is just sweet. Like everybody at the table agreed that it smelled really yummy. So that's nice. That was a pen that was in her bag. Someone exchanged, they had made little mug rugs, which this is one of my absolute favorite Christmas fabrics. When I get my Christmas quilts out, I'll show them, and I have a quilt that's made out of, this is either Swell or Sweet, I think. It's lines by Urban Chicks from Moda, and it was very retro fabric. So there were, each year, they had it for 3 years. They haven't had it last year, and it doesn't look like they're having one this year. They did Halloween instead of Christmas, but for 3 years they had retro Christmas. It was these kinds of colors, and there was a big panel each year. So it was a very 1950s, 60s looking Santa face. He reminded me of a Santa that my grandmother had that hung on the front door when I was a kid. And then one year it was a reindeer. I can't remember what they were each year. A snowman. Oh, a snowman was definitely the second year. And this is from either the Santa or the Snowman line, and I don't remember which one. It's been a few years ago that those were out. But love that. One of my table mates gave a bag that was full of, I took it out of here. I've taken all of the food stuffs out so that I could put them near my stitching spot or in my kitchen, or but there were a couple straws with honey in here. There was some ginger tea and some ginger lozenges. She had gone with the theme that it's winter and it's kind of cold and flu season, and this was all the honey and tea kind of remedies for that. So that was very thoughtful. And then Virginia, one of my table mates, actually had made a bunch of bags, and she let us each pick one out. So I picked out this Christmas bag, which has this cute little bear on the front. He's on the back too. But I can always use more winter and Christmas bags. Yeah, I guess this one is Christmas. I was going to say he's just wintry, but there's not Christmas trees. It's just winter foliage, which just happens to be red and green. All right, so that was my retreat. Again, fabulous time. Huge thank you to Colleen for putting it on. I know it's a lot of work. Somebody said that she told them she has to think about whether she's going to do it again next year because it was so much work. So I can definitely appreciate that. So I have a lot of FFOs and stitching. I had bigger plans, but I did get quite a bit done. So I'm going to go through my FFOs, my things that I finished stitching at the retreat, and a couple things that are WIPS. And then after that, I will show stash that I bought. I didn't buy too much. And then we'll see where we are at time. I have things from the freebie table from Stitch New England and from Sweata Weatha, the swap table. And I took lots, and I said I wasn't coming home with more than I went with, and I'm not sure that's true. But maybe it is. I did take a lot this time. But we'll see where we're at with time, because I can always show that at a later time. It's not like it's brand new stuff that you're going to want to rush out to get. It is some newer patterns, some of them, but you know, not like something that just came out last week. So let's dig into the FFOs. So the first thing I have is I FFO'd my what the heck's this thing called? Pumpkin Brew, which is Brew. It's from the Width I Need One Thread, Jack-o'-lantern Jubilee. And I guess it would help if I wasn't covering half of it with my hand. This one I stitched, it is on 32 count Lakeside navy beam. And I used all of the called for threads. And I put some of the, oh, this is the Halloween, this is part of the Halloween series from Urban Chicks by Moda. It's not the one that was just out this year, it's the one from last year. Shoot, I have to think if it's last year or the year before. Last year, I'm pretty sure. And then I just finished it with some black rickrack. So that's my fully finished. I think I had it stitched last time I visited with you, but now it's FFO'd. I did just stuff this one with poly because the pillow is a little bigger. I usually use crushed walnut shells, and my walnut shells, you can buy them in a little bag in the craft stores, in your quilting store. Lots of sewing kind of stores would have them. But, you know, it's a little bag. It maybe has 12 ounces or something in it, and there's $6 to $8. Or there's two other places you can get a larger quantity for about the same price. So I have a 10-pound box, and mine is aggregate. So it's walnut shells that are ground up to be used for sandblasting, and you can get it on Home Depot. And I ordered it online. They don't have it in the store because it's not something really that a DIYer isn't going to use this or need it. It's only going to be a professional that's really going to need it. But Home Depot does sell it. And if you do ship to store, that's what I did. I ordered it online, had it shipped to the store, and then just went and picked it up. And then the shipping's free. But the 10-pound box, I don't know, was under $20, and it's a huge box. The other way you can buy the same thing is desert reptile litter. If you just Googled like walnut litter, it will come up, but it's for desert reptiles. You need to be careful. Some people talk about lizard litter, and lizard litter is very different. That is not walnut shells. That typically has some wood shavings and stuff in it too. And I'm not crazy about using wood shavings in my pillows, so I'm partly worried that the wood shavings have a lot of tannins and things in them, which are going to discolor and do some funny things potentially over time. So then I also FFO'd these two pieces, which I had shown, and this is the little, this is a felted candy corn that somebody gave me at Stitch New England, but these I did in with their stuff with walnut shells. I like them with walnut shells. They have a little more heft. It's easier to keep them propped up in my bowls. And I use my milk glass bowls to display all my little pillows. This one I finished with, it's some of that same line. And I was using this line because for Halloween fabric, it actually is a little pinky peachy. And so are the flosses that are the called fors in this pattern. This is also from this book. It is these pumpkins right here. So right here. I only did half of this pattern. I didn't want the crow. I just did the little pumpkins. And then I was looking for black chenille, which I apparently didn't have, but I had some of this rust color. And even though there's nothing rust on here, it was a good fall color and contrast for the edging on this one. So that's how I finished that. The back is actually two different, I had some half square triangles stitched up that I had used in a quilt, but I didn't use all of the half square triangles that I had pieced together, and so this was a leftover one from that quilt, and that's what I used for the back since this thing's so tiny. So that was that one. And then the last thing I finished, and that is on 32 count Picture This plus Heartland and all the called for colors. Yeah, I have to look at it to remind myself if I did swap anything. I didn't. And then this last one is also, it's also on the Picture This plus Heartland. I don't have that pattern here with me today. It is from Thistles. I think, well, I know I just finished this, not fully finished, but I stitched it before last video. So the name of it is on there. I think it's called Broom Pin Keeps. I will put the name of the pattern in the description, but it's this little cat. And I've got some of my Halloween pins on it from Puttini Puttini. I finished it just with some green rickrack that matches the grass under the cat. And it has another piece from that same fabric line. I had a lot of fabric from that fabric line because, I mean, how could you not love that little cat? The panel that went with that fabric line is the big cat. I showed the quilt last time at the end of the video, which has the big cat panel and the other pieces of this fabric, because this is just leftovers from that. But yeah, I'm happy with that. I cut it a little close to the cat, but that's okay. It looked cute in this bowl for the week that I had it done. Now it has to get put away till next year, but that was my little bowl with my pieces finished. Okay. At Stitch New England, I took this, so I was trying to still focus on Halloween stitching until the end of October. For me, I ended up with like 1 month to stitch Halloween, which wasn't enough. I've got to plan September differently next year or do some Halloween stitching throughout the year because I do have some really cute Halloween patterns and 1 month isn't enough, enough for that. This is not Halloween, but I took it to the retreat to stitch because it's on a 28 count even weave. So I don't need any special light and I don't need any magnifying glasses. And I finished it. It is on the Fabric Flair pre-printed fabric. So all of these leaves and pumpkin are printed on here. It's just the brighter motifs down here, the Quakers that I stitched. And it was the new Gobbletons from AuryTM, which is this pattern. And you will notice mine do not have turkey heads. I've beheaded my turkeys. No, really, I just, I didn't really want the turkey heads, but I loved the fabric. I loved when I saw it stitched up. I just didn't really want they're kind of cartoony turkey heads. They are very cute. But, you know, my family, we're just at the ages and generations where there aren't really kids in my family right now. And I just, I wanted something fall that would be all fall. So like I could put this out in September. It's just some pumpkins and fall colors. There's no turkey heads, which scream Thanksgiving to me anyway. Now, it was very easy replacing the motif here. I did run into a problem over here and had to do some frogging and restitching, and it was up here. So the challenge with this one is this is not completely symmetrical. And I can't remember which way. I think it's a little squished this way. There's a stitch less side to side than there is top to bottom. So you can't just take these motifs from here and rotate them and put them here because there's not as much room here as there was down here. So I had this stitched in and I went to stitch these two burgundy star snowflakes, and they didn't fit. They were going to run into this orange. So I had one 3/4 of the way stitched and then started the other one like an idiot. So I had to tear both of them out and raise them up about 3 stitches so that they would fit in there. So I did have to do a little finagling on that one to make that happen. This one was perfectly symmetrical and I didn't have that problem. And I was kicking myself because I knew, I mean, I stitched this. I knew it wasn't symmetrical. I knew that it was a couple stitches narrower than it is tall. And it might even just be only 1 stitch on each side, but it's not perfectly symmetrical. So it does take a little bit of fiddling to make that happen. But I'm very happy with that. And next time you see me, I will have this framed. I've got the frame already. I've already cut the mat board. I just need to get it stretched and popped in the frame. So I'm hoping I can do that Sunday before I go down to visit my dad and watch the last NASCAR race of the season. And that fabric is by Fabric Flair. I know you can get the fabric and the pattern from 123, no, from Fat Quarter Shop. I don't think 123 Stitch carries Fabric Flair. I know you can get it at Fat Quarter Shop. You might be able to get it at Garon. It might be something he only carries like in season. The next thing I stitched on, and I really only stitched 2 things at the retreat. So I had part of Friday, all day Saturday, and part of Sunday. And I could have gotten a little more done, except I lost a couple hours frogging and restitching that Quaker motif. But I had this Winds of Autumn book from Blackbird Design, and yes, it's crinkling. I've got some fabric and things tucked in here for another project that I want to do. I want to do, well, let me not show the pattern. I want to do, all right, let me figure out how to hold this up. This piece, but I didn't get to it. But the one that I did do, and it is on Fox and Rabbit Mayflower. It's this little drum pin keep down here. I'm not going to finish it exactly that way, but I got it started and finished. And I had taken a floss to do it with. It was like a gray Weeks Dye Works, I don't know, galvanized or one of those. But Rebel Stitcher was selling this forbidden fiber coat called Devil Knows. And yeah, the colors are showing up really well if I can go the right direction. It's a really interesting mix of kind of blue, black, and purple. It looks like gray and black, but if you hold it up to black, then it becomes obvious that there's some, it becomes obvious that my shirt is covered with all kinds of fuzzballs. What is that? Oh, my cat died 2 years ago, and every year still I get my winter clothes out and they're covered with cat hair, and it just gets embedded in the winter clothes. I love polar fleece, but everything sticks to it, and none of my hobbies, or I should say all of my hobbies, create debris. Threads, quilting creates even more thread mess than cross stitching. I do paper crafting that creates a whole different kind of mess. Anyway, this is my finished stitch piece. I did get it completely finished, and it is on 36 count, so it is 1/2, and it's with the Forbidden Fiber Co. What did I say it was called? Devil Knows. That was a fun piece to stitch. It took a little longer than I thought it would. I think, you know, there's a lot of counting in it, but it is a single color. So it was fun, and I got that finished. Now, so that was everything I got stitched at the retreat. I worked on the pumpkin Friday and Saturday, and then I worked on the Halloween piece Friday or Saturday and Sunday. There was lots of shopping involved over the weekend as well, but it was good. And then I worked on, if I can get it out here, Gigi from Nora Corbett. I've got a single mess. Let me put this down for a moment. And last time you saw this, it was a black blob, which didn't, my organization is collapsing on me here. But I got a lot more done. So these are the blues that are in her dress. And other than her skin, it really is those blues and a little bit in the broom and blacks. There is a lot of black that's already stitched in here too. It reads as blue and dark blue, but there's a lot of black in there. So you can see what I got done is, I'm trying to think where to hold it that I won't cover it. It is everything to the one side, it's that draped dress that she's holding in her hand, everything to the left of the broomstick. So I'm probably about 40% of the way done. And this is on 32 count Grace Notes. Hang on, I gotta see what it's called. Caramel Kiss. I was gonna say butterscotch. I knew it was a food. This is not my preferred way to use floss, but it is more practical doing certain projects where you're going to be using a lot of certain colors. Like I will probably end up using almost the full skeins of these, so that's why they're cut that way. But that is Gigi. I think I'm going to keep stitching on Gigi. I know I've said this before, but maybe the 13th of the month, every month, and in the 30th or 31st, I may stitch on Halloween, but I may stitch on this. It is kind of Halloween. She's a witch with a cat, but if I finish her, I may find somewhere to put her out year round, even though she is Halloween. We'll see. It's not like I really need more decorations, but oh, I did stitch more Halloween. I didn't iron this, but I need something to hold it on. But I did some more work on the pattern from the Just Cross Stitch Halloween magazine from 2021, which is this one. And it's these pumpkins with the one cat down here. And that pattern is from Autumn Lane Stitchery. Yeah, Autumn Lane Stitchery. And I am almost positive that you can buy just this pattern now. You don't have to get it in the magazine. But I was a little discouraged, I mentioned last time, because the pumpkins were browner than what I liked. There's one more pumpkin left to stitch that goes over here, and it's more of the bright orange. And one of my viewers commented that it looks really pretty stitched up and to keep going. So I am going to keep going. It's actually a pretty fast stitch. One of these pumpkins takes me about 2 evenings. So I've really just got 2 more evenings of work and this would be done. And it is on a fabric Flair printed fabric as well. So if it's a night where I'm kind of tired and maybe not seeing as well, this is a good one for me to stitch on. It's really easy to see on this fabric, and I have the pattern blown up pretty big, so it's a good low light or tired eyes kind of stitching piece. But there it is up close. It looks better far back. Like, I think that's when I wasn't liking the brown, was up close. It really looks more brown than gold, but far back I'm kind of liking it. So just a couple more nights stitching on that and it will be done. But I'm not entirely sure if I'm gonna keep stitching on it now or leave it till next Halloween. It'll be a WIP going into next Halloween. I keep this project bag I bought at Stitch New Jersey, and it is by Stitchy Sasanak, and she's on Etsy. There's the name. And again, I love any of the Halloween and Christmas retro, and this was a very retro fabric. And I kept looking at it and thinking, I think I've got some Halloween bubbles that have retro fabric. And I did, so I found it. And one side has this little cat, but the other side, it is actually, and you maybe can't see it very well, it is actually the same witch holding this cat right here. So it matched exactly. And explain why when I looked at this bag, I was like, oh, I think I've got some Halloween bubbles that are retro like that. Well, they weren't just like that. They were exactly that same retro switch. So the last thing I stitched on this week, and I only stitched on it the last 2 nights because I said I wasn't going to stitch this October, even though there was a piece that was supposed to be stitched in October. This stitch along is scheduled to be finished this month. So the row of houses here was October, and then this was November, and we were done. I have everything stitched for the first 4 months. I didn't stitch in October, so now I've got these 2 pieces to finish this month, which I should be able to do, but you know what? If I don't, that's okay. I'd be okay with finishing this in December, but I think I can finish it this month. So just the last couple nights, I did some stitching on it, and honestly, like last night, I was supposed to be dyeing my hair to color these roots and getting some stitching on this, and instead I went to dinner with friends. So I didn't get a whole lot of stitching done on this, but I got some. And this is on 32 count Milk and Honey from Fiber on a Whim. What, I'm drawing a blank. Actually, it's 28 count. I'm sorry. It's 28 count Milk and Honey from Fiber on a Whim. It's not terribly modeled, but it is a tiny bit. It doesn't show up on camera very much because it is very subtle. But I like Fiber on the Whim. It's really nice to stitch on, and it's a fabric that's very easy to get hold of. So that's always nice. So that was all of my stitching and finishing. Now I will show you the things I bought. And I'm going to show this one first because I have a question about it. So if you're not into looking at stash, if you could stick around just to see this. One of the things I bought were these lucite floss drops, and they've got these really cute, here I'm going to hold it up to my shirt because it's going to show up. It's got these really cute daisies all over them. So they're all the same. My question is, how would you put your floss color on there, or floss number, or symbol from the chart? Or I don't want to draw on here with like a Sharpie, it wouldn't come off. I don't really want to put a sticker on here because that would cover up the daisies, and I'm not sure it would come off. A grease pencil would work, but I'm afraid that would rub off, and I don't need black grease pencil rubbing off on my floss or my stitching. So what are your thoughts? How would you, if you've used lucite floss drops before, how did you label them? Or do you have any ideas? I do have a P-Touch labeler, but I know those don't peel off. They kind of, the tape kind of separates into layers when you try to peel it off. It leaves a mess. Maybe Post-it tape? I'm not sure that would stick well enough, but maybe. Thoughts, ideas? I'd appreciate them. So I bought those. That was, well, all of this was from Rebel Stitcher, but, and then this really cute little Mouse Autumn Mill Hill kit that will be traveling with me somewhere. It's very tiny. It does have a lot of beads, but that's okay. I was just looking because the beads aren't the easiest part when traveling, but I mean, the important thing for me when traveling is it's small. I grab this, I grab a pair of scissors. If I want to do the beads, I need to grab my little sticky bead tray thing. And I'm good to go. That's what I like about Mill Hill. I don't have to have a frame or a hoop or anything else because I do like stitching on the perforated paper with these. So I bought that. I bought a couple needle minders from Rebel Stitcher. She's discontinuing these so that she can focus just on the needle minders that are her own designs, like the little abominable snowman and things. But I really like the little Snoopy and Woodstock. And then the sweater it was Sweater Weather was the name of the retreat. So that was why I got the sweater. I will always remember where I got that because of that link. And then she had some Fox and Rabbit and, oh, I'm trying to remember the other company that she had. She had fabrics from a few companies. She had a whole table of XG designs that were beautiful, but I have that granny slip, and every time I get it out, I hate the way it smells. So I did not buy any of the XG Designs fabrics, even though they were gorgeous. But I did buy a piece, a pretty big piece, of Fox and Rabbit Eucalyptus in 32 count. So it's just a green that is pretty neutral. I know I'll stitch on green. I do. My living room is in greens. And 32 count, I could do a Mirabilia on this. So that was why I bought this piece, but it was pretty. I liked it. And it is showing up pretty true colored. I have a piece that's kind of like this called Celadon, which I stitched my Blackbird design. Winter is coming. Winter is behind us. Winter something. On, but I don't think I have very much of it left. So I bought that. And then I bought a few patterns. I didn't go too crazy. I was reasonably good, but a couple Lila Studios. This one is Easter, but it's called Spring Parade Set 1, and they had the model stitched for this, like a little mini trunk show, and it was so cute. They did have them stitched in a row together, like they would be a little train, and they were stitched on a fabric that was it was a hand dyed, and it was several different pastel colors, really soft pale. And it was so cute stitched that way and done as a long flat fold. And I may stitch it exactly like that. They had two different, there's a set 2 as well. But I like the set 1 because I love this little chick. So I got that one. And then I got Noel on Rouge, which is Christmas in red. And again, that one I bought because it was the sweater motif, and it was Sweater Weather. And they had a tree with, they had all of her, she's got several sweater pattern, cross stitch patterns out, Lila's studio does, and they had all of them there hanging on a little tree, all stitched up, and I wanted all of them. I picked this one partly because the Mary Mary and the Joy that's diagonal from it are both pretty much the one color. Mary Mary's got a tiny bit of white on it, but single color stitching makes really great travel projects. So that was why I nabbed this one. I like the little polar bears in the upper corner too. Those are cute. And I don't think there were any cats or mice, so I made it easy. And then, oh here, I'll go out of seasonal order. This Primrose Cottage Stitches Boo Bash, they had this stitched up. And I really want to stitch this. So it's all pumpkins, and there's that one little black cat head in there. So I thought that was cute. And it's Primrose Cottage Stitchers is that Christmas piece that I'm working on for the stitch along. I will probably do this, I haven't decided, maybe without that diamond border on the edge and finish it in a pillow. I even thought about stitching it on one of the low threads per inch, so bigger, and doing it as a big pillow. Because it's, how many stitches is it? 57 by 57, it's still going to be kind of small, because even if I did it on something that would be like 10 count, that's not even quite 6 by 6, so I'll probably go ahead and do this one as a small. And it's done with overdyes. Classic Color Works mostly. And I bought one other Halloween. I did not need more Halloween, but this is Sleepy Hollow from Hello from Liz Matthews, and they had a Liz Matthews trunk show there. And this one is cuter in person than it is in the picture. Loved it in person. Gorgeous. So, it would be really cute even to just do a row of the pumpkins from one of these sides. The row of the pumpkins and the cat as a long skinny pincushion. But I want to do the whole thing. I don't next year, so when I drive up around New York City, if I come on the west side of New York City, like to go to Connecticut or Massachusetts for Stitch New England, you actually go right past Sleepy Hollow. And I keep thinking sometime I'm going to stop there, and I haven't. And then I got this pattern from Rebel Stitcher. I mean, it's her design, called Snow Bunny Kisses. And how cute are those bunnies? And that's just a great winter piece. So I'm always on the lookout for something winter, not necessarily Christmas, so that I don't look as ridiculous leaving it out until April like I do with my Christmas tree. And the last pattern that I bought is a Teresa Kogut, and it's called Stylin Snowman. And is he too cute or what? And he is actually only 71 by 68. So the design, the sample is stitched 2/2 on 30 count linen, and it's only 4 1/4 by 4 3/4. So he's actually fairly small. I have to decide how I want to stitch him. Like I even would be tempted to go really small with him, like stitch him 1/1 on. Well, if I stitched him 1/1 on 36 count, he wouldn't. He'd be a little shy of 2 by 2. That would be pretty tiny. I don't know. I have to decide. He's cute, and I like the colors on him. They're non-traditional. They're not Christmas colors. And I have another snowman, Teresa Kogut snowman that I finished last year. I think it's called Snowman Clown. I'll have him out soon here. And he also has some teal on him. And I could, if this is more of a gray, I could even swap this out and make them the same colors to make them a little pair. But I have to think about that. He was cute anyway. And that was the end of my shopping. Oh, no, it's not. I bought one other thing. She was selling cottage garden threads. And I don't have very many of these. I have some that came in a kitted up set of them to go with Mojo Stitches. It's a library. It's like a bookshelf. And that's the only cottage garden threads I have. I have a single also that I had that I stitched in something. I don't remember what it was. It was something else that was kitted up with like one of these in it. So nobody near me sells cottage garden threads, so I could only buy it online. And seeing it in person, now I understand why people love getting the Floss of the Month Club with this. Like last year, Garon did it where each month it was a different colorway. Like this month it might be blues, and next month it might be yellows, or they were ones that just looked really pretty together. And looking at them like that, they're even prettier in person. I think they mixed it up this year. It's not like all a colorway together that way. But I don't know. I know there's some other places like Stitch New England that has a club for them, and I don't know who else. But they may not all be the same. I don't know. I know cottage garden threads, like they picked what would be kitted for each month. So, but I went through and picked out a bunch of greens and blues, sort of greenish blues, greens and greenish blues, yellowish greens, greens and greenish blues. So I had fun picking those out. And then I picked out a few just because I love these colors, and then I actually like them together, of kind of a melon. They didn't have like a true red. So these are kind of melon, I'll just call them melon colors. But they looked really pretty with the blues and greens, so now I have to come up with something to use all of this with. Shouldn't be too hard. If I can look through my patterns and find either a sampler or maybe something that has a lot of leaves and flowers, that would use like these greenish or these yellowish greens are the ones that really work for leaves. Some of these, like these two, aren't going to really work for leaves. They're more like seaside kind of colors. But so I did buy the Cottage garden threads. That was the end of my shopping. I spent enough money. I've had enough retreats this year. It's a good thing my retreats are done for the year. I am doing a stitching weekend next weekend with some friends. So I may hit a couple of cross-stitch stores. We're going to be in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. So Hodgepodge and Stitches Unlimited are very close and in that area. But hopefully I can contain myself because I certainly don't need to buy anymore. But yeah, we call it our hand stitching weekend. We're not at the retreat house where there's like sewing tables to set up your machines and stuff. So we do hand stitching. Silly Notion Stitcher and I will be cross stitching. Our friend Jane will be knitting, and then Quinn, who knows? She does she has cross stitched. She's done quilt binding while we were there because that can be some tedious hand stitching that takes a while. And then I know she does punch needles, so she could show up with a variety of projects. But looking forward to that. And that is my last trip for the year. This last weekend was my last retreat, but my stitching plans over the next 2 weeks, I want to work on the Christmas stitch along and see how far I can get if I can get October done at least in these 2 weeks, then I would be on track that the last 2 weeks of November, I could actually do November and I would finish it on time, and that would be a lot of fun. I need to do a little bit of catch up on my temperature motif because I am a little bit behind on that. By a little bit behind, I mean like 2 weeks. I don't mean like a month. But I want to get caught up on that because it's one that I need to keep up with it. I'm almost done. Only 2 more months and it's finished. So I want to work on that. And then I may stitch on Gigi some more. And then Quaker pumpkins. And I finally called it the right thing. I always want to call it Autumn Quakers. It's not Autumn Quakers. That's Rosewood Manor. I have that. I just haven't started it. This is Quaker Pumpkins. Hello from Liz Matthews. And it is nearly finished. There's some pieces on it that I'm not stitching. Like it says Hallows Eve, and I'm not putting that on there because I want it to just be a fall piece. I don't want it to be a Halloween piece. I already have a frame and everything for that. So I would like to finish that this month. It's probably going to be too late by the time I finish to bother hanging it because I'll be ready to decorate for Christmas, Thanksgiving weekend. So that's only a few weeks away. Hard to believe, folks, but Thanksgiving is 3 weeks from now. Is that right? Yes, Thanksgiving was 3 weeks from yesterday. And I usually put up my decorations the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So, yeah, I'm probably not going to get Quaker Pumpkins fully finished to hang up this year. I'll probably finish it right before Thanksgiving, and then it'll be like, it'll get stored till next year. But you'll get to see it anyway. So everybody have a fantastic week. Thanks for visiting with me. Thanks for sticking through to the end. And I'll see you next time. Bye.